The rain fell like whispers on the rooftops of St. Martin's that night in 1943. Cold, steady, and indifferent to the blood it washed from the cobblestones. A radio went silent, a message unfinished, a legend born. They had called him Whisper, but that night, even he disappeared without a trace. Before we dive into this forgotten story of survival and silent sacrifice, remember, if you enjoy uncovering the hidden truths of history, give this video a like and consider subscribing for more gripping tales from the shadows of time. And let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from. I love seeing how far these stories reach. His name was Thomas Hale, or so the records claim. In Nazi-occupied France, beneath the ruins of a crumbling town, he lived a life of smoke and mirrors. By daylight, he was a limping wine merchant with quiet eyes and always gloved hands. No one ever heard him speak. Some thought he was mute, others assumed he was a broken man from some earlier war. But when the sun set, he became something else entirely. Whisper, the most elusive covert radio operator the Special Operations Executive had ever known. For the townsfolk, the war was a distant thunder, a storm rolling over someone else's horizon. But for Whisper, the war breathed down his neck every night. He transmitted from a cellar cloaked in shadow, encoding truths that would shape battles hundreds of miles away. Ammunition trains exploded. Convoys vanished. High-ranking Nazis were found dead in their beds. All traced back to coded whispers in the night. No one ever saw him enter or leave. The bottles of wine he sold were wrapped in newspaper, but for those trained to notice, those who could read between the lines, each one carried secrets worth killing for. His hands, always gloved, trembled only once, the night he learned that the Gestapo had begun listening more closely. Even then, he sent his messages, always signing them the same way, Whisper. He didn't just send intelligence, he wove chaos. A sabotage train here, a forged document there. With uncanny instinct, he knew when to run, when to vanish, and when to risk everything. He worked alone. No handler nearby. No backup. Only the ticking of his watch and the hum of his transmitter. Then, one night, he vanished. London waited. 1 day. 2. A week. Nothing. Panic set in. Whisper had gone dark. Enter Genevieve Moreau, a young agent fluent in silence. She was half French, half English, and entirely forged in steel. Her mission was simple: find Whisper or confirm his death. Disguised as a nurse treating tuberculosis patients, she slipped into St. Martin's. From the beginning, something was wrong. The air was thicker. The stairs lingered too long. Checkpoints had doubled. The whispers in alleys weren't just gossip anymore, they were fear. An old woman, half blind and forgotten, remembered a man who smelled of ink in winter. He had eyes that knew too much. She whispered. Eyes like he had seen death and walked past it. Days passed. Then one night, Genevieve broke into the wine cellar. The transmitter was still warm. Dust covered everything, except one place. A smear of blood. A message half sent. Victory near. The wolves are inside. It wasn't SOE code. It wasn't anything anyone had ever seen. But it rattled London to its core. Who were the wolves? Had the enemy infiltrated their networks? Was someone inside the SOE itself working for the Reich? The panic was silent but deep. Operations were frozen. Trust fractured. In the shadows, men began watching each other more closely than the enemy. And still, no whisper. Then came the legend. A captured German officer in Normandy spoke of a British operator who haunted the airwaves. They called him Der Geistfunker, the ghost radio operator. According to reports, he wore many faces, changed voices, moved before the wind shifted. One SS officer's report mentioned arriving at a resistance hideout moments too late. The transmitter was still warm. On the wall, a message, "Wolves howl louder before dawn." Months passed. The Allies marched forward. Normandy fell. The world began to hope again. But in Saint-Martin-de-Ré, the wine house stood empty. No body. No equipment. Only a dust print, where someone had knelt for hours, watching, waiting. Then a signal. Faint. Fragmented. Picked up near the Luxembourg border. An American operator, half asleep, caught the code. "London, this is Whisper. Wolves now wear our uniforms. Trust nobody." Silence followed. That message spread like wildfire. But it wasn't joy, it was dread. If the enemy now wore their uniforms, who could be trusted? Officers began eyeing each other with suspicion. Informants were detained. Plans shelved, the paranoia dug deep. But some believed. Some believed Whisper had never stopped. That he had gone underground, deeper than anyone could reach. There were rumors. A man with a limp had freed Allied prisoners. A stranger had dropped a coded map into the hands of a French commander before vanishing. No one ever saw his face. Only his eyes, haunted, focused, relentless. In 1946, a freed British soldier swore on his life. "He knew everything, my unit, my name, even the name of the man who betrayed us. He said one thing, 'There's one more message I have to send.' Then he was gone." In 1953, during a NATO exercise in Bavaria, a secure line was breached. A single message came through, exact coordinates of a surprise mock attack. Sign, Whisper. Still listening. Decades passed. The Cold War churned. Files were opened. Some stayed redacted. One SOE file from 1972 quoted Whisper's last known official message. "The uniforms have changed. The eyes haven't." Thomas Hale, if that was even his real name, was never found. Officially, he was declared missing in action. His personnel file marked with a red X, no known relatives. No body. Only silence. Yet the legend lives. Operators in remote outposts claim to catch phantom taps in the static. Not noise, Morse code, outdated, but real. They say if you hear it, don't change the frequency. Pause, listen. Because somewhere, in the space between wars, between truth and rumor, Whisper might still be sending his final message. And maybe, just maybe, his warning hasn't been fully heard yet.